Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the J Talks, today's relationship talk show week. As a matter of fact, y'all get ready because it's going to be called soon the J and K Talks, today's relationships talk show. And right beside me, you got none other than Lady K.
Hi, 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 hi. He almost couldn't get that title out.
Yeah, it does take a little bit more.
Like his denture slipped.
Yeah, a little bit more wind power to get that whole thing out. All right. All right. So you want to tell everybody what our topic is for today?
I have been looking forward to this. We're going to be talking today about classy or trashy. What your clothes say about you. What do they say about you? You know, I mean, I have seen some stuff within the last week. I even learned a new word. You know what the new word is, Jay?
What's that new word?
I wish I had thought of it myself. But you heard the word prostitute, right?
Not the P word.
But wait. It's a variation. They said it was a tostitute.
A tostitute.
T-O-T. A tostitute. T-O-T-S-stitute. Because this little girl had to been about 10 or 11, was dressed like she was out on the corner somewhere. And I said, ooh. And the young man said, that's what you call a tostitute. And I said, ooh, I like that.
A tostitute.
She was dressed like she was standing out on a street corner. I mean, gold lame and everything.
Well, I mean.
But the thing about it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of that these days.
Yes. But, you know, it's sad, but it's true. We are judged by what we wear. Female and male. It used to be more like, you know, females get judged by what they have on, their appearance, their clothing, their style, you know. But now, dudes, too, you know, they call it their swagger or whatever. But they're judged also by what they wear, along with us. You know, you could see a brother in a nice suit and think he got it much going on because he got on a nice suit, but even a monkey can wear a nice suit. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But if he went to an interview, who do you think would get that job? The brother in a nice suit or the brother, you know, with the jeans and the t-shirt and all of that, you know, action going on?
I don't know. The monkey might get it. I don't know, but
But it's true. It's true. You know, I have tattoos. Okay. I don't regret not one of them. But I must say that being a hiring manager, when somebody comes into my office to apply for a job, I look at that. You know, it was a young man that was working in an establishment, really young guy. And I had to ask, because, you know, that's just Lady K. I'm going to ask. And I said, baby, how old are you? And he said 17, and he had full sleeves on both arms. And I said, 17? I said, well, how old were you when you got your sleeves? He said 14. I said, wow. So, you know, my next question. Where was your parents? Okay. You know, he told me his mama was sitting right there when he got his sleeves
She,
at 14.
yeah, because he ain't had the money. She probably paid for it.
But I'm like, what in the world? You know,
mm,
but and I told him, I'm so glad that we were
mm,
doing this show because
mm,
I told him, I said, sweetheart, sad but true. We are judged by what we wear and our appearance. I said, what do you want to do with your life? He's only 17. He's got a gold grill. You know,
mm,
he got sleeves on both arms. And I said, what do you want to do with your life? And he said, I want to be an accountant.
mm.
Hmm. See the look
Okay.
on your face? Okay.
For who?
Okay.
Who? I mean,
Would
you
you,
know,
he want to be
pimps
an
got
accountant.
accounts
I'm
too.
like, but would you trust your money? Think about it. And I know it sounds stereotypical, but America is true. Would you walk into an accounting firm and you saw this young man there with a gold grill and sleeves down both arms, would you give him your money and have him invested for you? I mean, education, but off of his appearance. And it's sad, but it's true. And I'm just being real, I'm just being honest. Those are things that we look at. You know, I'm like, sweetheart, you want to go into professional field. You got to look the part. You got to play the game. I call it playing the game. You know, play the game until you become a game player.
Hmm. Okay.
You know,
So
play the
basically,
game until you become a game player.
you're kind of saying that the profiling exists no matter what.
No matter what, whether you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Hispanic,
Mm-hmm.
African, you know, it doesn't matter. Stereotypes exist, and we are all collectively judged off of those stereotypes. I mean, even so far as, you know, I love natural hair for black people. Love it. Love it. I'm trying to go there myself. It's a struggle. Because in the management field that I'm in, and I work for the federal government, you're expected, if you're black, honestly, you know, you can't be too Afrocentric. You know, they're not going to take you seriously. I've had someone say to me, because I like my braids, Jay knows I love my braids, um,
Mm-hmm.
that my hairstyle was too ethnic. Um, they straight up told me that I needed to tone it down. Um, I'm like, so I'm being defined by my hairstyle. I'm being defined not by my work, but by my hairstyle, by my
Mm-hmm.
appearance. Um, and it's true. It's true. I mean, it's out there. Men, I love dreads. I think dreads look nice on a man. Um,
Maybe I should wear some on one of these shows.
that's that's the look for you.
Yeah. How you doing, man? How you doing, man? Welcome to the J Talks Today's
I
Relationship Show.
I do not see that on you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Okay. No,
Mm.
I don't see that on you. I have seen some pictures. People, I have seen some pictures of Jay back in the day. You know what? We should do a show where we flashback.
Really?
Yeah, flashback. And we show one or two pictures of us back in the day.
Mm.
And just it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. We could pick a decade because you and I aren't too far apart in age. We could pick a decade and be like, okay, one picture from the 70s, one picture from the 80s, one picture from the 90s, because those are our most embarrassing moments. You know,
Mm.
when,
Mm.
when we thought we was all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So people, I've seen some pictures of him, and it's interesting.
No.
His hairstyle choices over the years. But
Yeah, like
but you
playing in the
know,
club
trashy.
band pics.
What? Yes, yes. But you know, trashy or classy. Um, just because they make it in your size doesn't mean you should put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, You hear this all the time, from older people. Why buy the cow and get the milk for free? My grandma used to say that, you are a young lady, present yourself that way. But we all go through those phases where um, we put on things that, we think are flattering, but honestly, must admit, mm, when you look back at those pictures, you go, "What was I thinking?" You know,
Mm.
it's stylish. I mean, Jay, you don't have any pictures, a time period where you know you may have worn some stuff that you look back now, you go,
No,
what was
Brother
I
Man was
thinking?
bad back in the day. I mean, yeah, Brother
Mm-mm.
Man even had him a pink suit, jumpsuit, as that. But see, that was back in the day. Back in the day, that was like, that was kind of straight. I mean, I wouldn't wear one now, you know.
Why?
Like you like
That's
backing up
okay.
20, 30,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
yeah,
40
but you could
years
like
later.
like back when
Hmm.
back when like
Hmm.
Miami Vice was real popular and shows
Hmm.
like that, guys wore pink.
Hmm.
It was a lot of pink out there,
There
and
was a
it was
lot of
accepted.
loud colors out there. Bright, loud colors.
But now,
Mhm.
you wouldn't wear that now.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's like when you go into a professional setting. You don't expect to walk into a professional setting and see pants sagging, bagging, belt buckles showing. You don't expect to go in a professional setting and see, um, beards, grandfather, beard, big, thick beards, and all of that. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, in certain settings, you expect to see certain things.
Mhm.
Even in schools, I remember when you could wear anything to school, and now uniforms are uniformity. Because it got so bad in the schools, not necessarily with people being jumped, for their clothing, but because the standards, girls were showing a little too much, guys showing a little too much. It was, they needed to be more focused on their studies than what they had on.
Right. I mean, it was a municipal method to be able to get a control on it. So it just became a standard for everybody,
Hmm.
rather than to say that they were picking on anybody, because we have to remember, um, the society wants to tend to say that it's the black race that's really showing this negative energy on the style of dressing, but it's also in the Caucasian race just
It's
as well,
everywhere.
and actually, when you look at the reports, um, and that have been made, or studies that have been made, um, it's more embarrassing. Uh, and I hope I can get away with saying this. I guess I can, because they're published reports. It's more embarrassing for the Caucasian race to see their society in pants falling down, booty shorts that show half your butt, and
Hmm.
I mean, and all this revealing stuff. I mean, so uh it's it it's moved really away from just solely just saying, even though there are still some that still wants to try to make it look like it's the black society that's really prominent in this, but it's really not. It's just that people just won't get off the talk, or adjust their
Hmm.
talk where it's balanced, because it's just as well statistically based that the Caucasian society is really doing just as much as the black. and it's just that the focus is just not there. It's not
That's
on
right.
them as it is us. Okay. Um, but
That's
the
right.
school system did move into a standard, and that was to get a balance
Mhm.
because and it wasn't just because of the black society, as some may have said. It's them that made it look had a bad appearance around the school, but no, really
Mhm.
statistically looking at it, they were just kids being kids of multiple races, and that was just the fad. That's the fad and the fashion, which is sad. Which is sad at the same time, as you were saying, that at a later point after all these young folk have done all many permanent, um, I guess you would say, adjustments to their body, their
Bodies, yes.
looks, their looks. Uh, uh, two or three piercings coming out of their eyes, nose,
Lip.
the lips, and the chin. Um, I even saw
The
I
face,
even
the
saw
spacers.
saw piercing right up here at the top of the forehead. I was like, that's like you must have came from an African tribe, one of the unknown African tribe. They do that kind of stuff. Shove a little sugar cane
Ooh.
down their chin, and all that. But really, I mean, it's just that the kind of basically the standard in America. But when we look around the whole world, there are different cultures that have, styles of dressing. You still got cultures out there around the world where they run around the forest butt naked. They don't even have no clothes. I mean, um,
You can't
and
do that here.
yeah, you can't do that here. Yeah, you can't do that.
You
I
can't
mean,
do that here.
that's not the
Some people
standard of
try.
America. Yeah,
Some people try.
yeah, they sure do. Yeah, they try. You're
Some
right.
people try.
Hmm.
Because
But
I
yeah.
tell you, you talk about trashy or classy.
Mm-hmm.
What I hate to see is older people that should know better. Okay?
You think
That
they
should
know
know
better?
better in these little,
Hmm.
they should.
Oh, should.
They should.
Hmm.
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 In these little itty bitty, teeny tiny pants and things, like I had a doctor's appointment recently. And I'm at the doctor's appointment to go get my blood drawn. And this lady walks up to the counter, and I'm sitting there. She's older than me. I'm 40, mid 40s.
Hmm.
She's about 50 something, obviously. And she had on these little short shorts. And I was like, first, my thought was, wow, those shorts are really short. But I was like, not really paying attention. So she walked up to the counter and leaned over to talk to the nurse. And when she leaned over the counter to talk to the nurse, I saw all her hamburgers.
Mm.
Okay.
And it
And I said,
cheese.
oh, I said, ooh. It shocked me. And
Okay.
she stood up. And I was like, thank you.
Hmm.
And but it just shocked me because this lady should know better. We are older. We should know to put on undergarments. We should know not to wear booty cut shorts. That's trashy.
Oh.
There's nothing classy or acceptable about that. And you're in a doctor's office. We liable to catch something more than what you already came in with, walking around and stuff like that. That's not nice. That's nasty. I was like, ooh.
But what gets me every time, and I have to say this, ladies, you know, because I be hearing ladies saying the same thing about guys, not so much as much as guys, because guys really, they be wearing their pants hat all the way down the ground and underwear, boxers all be showing. Um, they basically they don't care if you're looking or not. But however, when it comes to the women, they have revealing clothes that I mean that really not really much hiding anything, okay? And they go out. They know what they looking like when they go. I mean, they looked in the mirror when they put it on, and they didn't just go buy it at the store the first time putting it on and walked out of the house. Okay, that's clothes in the closet, and they done had it on a couple of times, so they already know what it looked like and on them. Okay, all right,
On them.
they already know what it looked like on them. So now, when they go out, they're so revealing and so exposed that when it draws attention, okay, most of the time, I mean, women will look, but most women will look and criticize, okay. But well, then again, these days you got a lot of women getting turned on by a lot of women. So I mean, that's really picking up. I mean,
Yeah, it
the
is.
buy world for females is really picking up a lot. And as a matter of fact,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm gonna plug this in. It is even gone down to as low as the eighth grade, that little young girls are turning on to other little young girls even in the eighth grade. Uh,
Mhm.
and so the like I said, the bi world is really uh, turning up. So, but however, on a on a rational standard, being the male, the opposite sex, okay. Um, when the men when it's catching the men attention, majority, I'm gonna say pretty much about 80-85% men who will see something revealing. Now they ain't gonna not look. Okay, they may not stare, but they're not gonna pass up the look. Okay, all right. I'm just keeping it real, folks. Just keeping it real. They're not gonna pass up the look. They may not ever even do nothing, might not say nothing. But when the woman sees the man looking, they turn around and have an attitude. What you looking at? Uh, why you staring at me? I mean, but you're revealing. You're catching the attention, but you don't want nobody to look at you.
They want people
is
to
that?
look. They
I mean,
want
that's just
people to
totally
look.
hypocrisy. And I never could figure out why women who go out so revealing have such an attitude when they get the attention of what they actually seem like the calling card they putting out there. And especially when men
No,
start
well,
running up, gawking and hollering at them and trying to make passes at them, and they be like, man, I wish y'all just go away. I mean, yes, women can look just as sexy and turn on and catch an eye with less revealing clothes. I mean, especially tailor fitted clothes. Um, you know, and as they could as actually showing more skin. It's just a way a woman can put it together.
that's right.
However, it's when you start the revealing of more skin seems to suggest that you are easy, and that's the attention you really desiring from a man.
Well, why do you think, Jay, that the suggestion is? I like how you said that. Why do you think that the suggestion is? Because of the more skin you show, the more or the less inhibitions you may have, that you are easy.
Okay. Now it does depend on the place, okay? Because I do have another I guess uh theoretical outlook about the skin being shown. That's also a hypocrisy practice that we do in society. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But according to your question, uh,
Hmm.
depending on the setting, um, let's say like you in grocery store, shopping store, um, you know, and matter of fact, um, even in church has become more and more revealing, and more
Mm-hmm.
comfortable to reveal, even in the
Mm-hmm.
religious sector. Um, and it's just
You
that
can say that again.
the comfortability level has become such that there's really not much conscience. So in areas such as these that I'm kind of speaking of, where it's more like casual but not bare all casual, okay, um, or even formal, um, that when the person comes forward in that, the expectancy is not to see all that in that form. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you have that in those areas of form, it creates a psychological, um I guess we would say, portrayal in the man, to respond to that it, it tends to demonstrate. That's,
Yeah, that's like, going into some churches, when
mm,
the main time you see people honestly is when it's time to do the offering.
mm,
Okay, and that's
mm.
when they get to take a stroll, or what
Oh,
I call a strut.
oh,
They got to take a little strut around the
mm,
church. And I have seen some things that make me go, because you know they walk around in these little short skirts and these really extremely high shoes, can
mm-hmm.
barely walk,
Right.
and I go, wow. And you can tell when someone is uncomfortable, or better yet, the tops are cut low,
Mm-hmm.
down to that V in the front.
Right.
You can tell when they're uncomfortable because the whole time they're walking, they're pulling on the skirt.
Mm.
The whole time they're walking, they're pulling on the top. And I'm like, if you need to pull on your skirt or pull on your top, you should have known when you put that on that it was too short
Mm-hmm.
or it was cut too low.
Right.
You know, you knew that. That's why as you walk around, you got one hand tugging at the bottom of your skirt and another hand tugging at your shirt to try to close your jacket.
Mm.
And I sit there, because I'm a minister. I sit there and I go, wow, you know, because I would never, even before I was in the ministry, go into a church
Mm.
in something. My dresses was always quote unquote adequate length.
Mm.
You present yourself a certain way when you go there. And trust and believe, they might not say anything, but people are looking, they're watching, and I hate to say it, yes, judging.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Mm.
we're judgmental. We're
Mm.
judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
But I go, wow, look at that. Or my favorite is when ladies, you know that some of us are jiggly, okay? And you can tell when a lady is not wearing the proper undergarments as she take a stroll, or what I call a strut, around the church. And I literally sit there and go, ooh.
Mm. And some men
Because
are probably sitting there and going,
we
mm.
jiggly. We jiggly.
Yeah, some men are probably sitting there, like I said, going, ooh.
Ooh, ladies, that
Mm.
is not classy.
Mm.
That is trashy.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
sorry, we don't do that. Um, it's amazing to me some of the stuff that I see out and when I'm out and about, and I'm out and about quite a bit, especially being in the DC metropolitan area. I have seen some stuff. Um, but like Jay was saying, out here, quote unquote, advertising, but then you get upset or you get a little bit miffy, if somebody calls you on that advertisement,
Mm.
and men do it too now. It's not just ladies,
Mm.
it's men too. It's men too. Because some men, I personally don't like muscle shirts because it reminds me of a certain, we're going to call his name, person that was in the ministry, used to wear them muscle shirts all the time. And I was like, something ain't quite right. I don't like a man in a muscle shirt. But I've seen them men walking around in a little tight muscle shirts. And women are just like eyeballs popping out of their head because they're looking at all these muscles. But as soon as the women start really looking at them, they get them a little crazy. Like, what you looking at? Like you're not good enough to look at me. That type of thing. I saw that recently. This guy had on a muscle shirt, and the lady that was looking at him was kind of, just kind of heavy set. And he literally gave her a nasty look because she was looking at him. And I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like I said, you can dress up a monkey in a suit and it's still a monkey. Just because it's in a suit or it's in something that looks nice doesn't mean that it's appealing. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow, that was really crazy to me. And it hurt her feelings because we all were standing there and we all saw how he looked at her. That nonverbal communication was powerful. So I was like, you're not all that. I don't do muscle shirts, so I was ready to go on and get him anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, you're not all that. But to me, what's more attractive is when I got to find the muscles, not just out there on display for everybody. You find, it was a quote that I wish I had it written down, that Muhammad Ali told his daughters that the most precious gems are found deep and buried in the earth. They're not just laying all out and about on top of the ground for any and everybody to see. The most precious gems are hidden and they're deep and buried. So the most precious thing that you have should not be just out and about, just on display for everybody. You cover it up some. If he really wants it, he'll dig through those layers to find it and to get to it. But I love that quote from Muhammad Ali, and I think I said it pretty good, pretty well. Right. But it was great because it's something that he said to his daughters when they were teenagers, and they remembered that and they put it in a book. It was Layla Ali that put it in a book. She wrote about her dad, and I thought that was just beautiful that he would tell his daughters that your treasure is something that's hidden, not something that's all out and exposed.
All right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So we're talking about trashy, classy, how you dress may define who you are, what you are.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And
what the world perceives you to be.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily what you are, but what the world perceives you to be.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going off of what other people see. You may go out in these little tight skirts and be the sweetest thing, not out to try to get a guy or they have these abstinence clubs or whatever, but because you dress that way, people are going to assume that you are that way. You may not be as respected. Like even in the workplace, women. It was an episode of Three's Company, and Chrissy was the sexy one, on the show, and she went to work dressed a little provocatively, and her boss straight up told her that if she changed the way she dressed, she may get promoted. Because she wasn't being promoted because those other higher executives didn't feel as though she was executive material, even though she was great at what she did. She was outstanding at what she did. But because of the way she dressed, they weren't going to even consider promoting her.
Right, and I agree with you.
And that happens. That happens. You may be in the office thinking you catching the boss's eye, which you may be. You may be.
Wrong reason.
you want Wrong reason. Wrong reason. You want to be known for the work that you do, and not for how you dress. And how you look when you come to work.
Well, that's work too.
Dressing trashy.
Trashy,
Really,
that trashy
really,
work
Jay.
is work too.
Really, Jay. I
I'm, I'm,
mean,
I'm
I'm
glad Sister
honestly.
Soldier is down here because I know what kind of work she was saying that would be.
Sister Soldier always came to work professionally dressed. Her
Oh,
attitude might have been street, but she wasn't from the street.
no, I'm just saying that other kind of work is work too.
That's messed up.
um, but I mean, but is it work? Is it that kind of work that you can be really proud of yourself in the very end? Did it really get you? Really, did you really earn it rightfully and in its perspective? Because some people get in position as we say kissing up. We actually say it in some other more
Brown nosing.
yeah brown nose
Hmm.
and doing things unrelated to the job so
Monica Lewinsky.
yeah yeah
Under the table.
yeah on the table
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
so you know it's there's a difference when you have earned it and your earnings has been seen worthy by more than one person. Okay.
Right.
uh,
Right.
because if it's really in control of just one person, you might be in a little trouble. You might get there, but the thing of it is, in a position like when you get moved and bumped up and put in and moved around because of the, I guess you say, unworthy deeds that you might have done, eventually, as they always say, there's always a replacement stand on the standby. Okay, there's always a replacement on the standby. All right, so keep
But you
that in
know,
mind.
that's like
Mm,
yeah, think back to high school.
mm,
I know we have some younger listeners. I want you to think back to high school. To and I hate to say it, girls. Think about the girls in high school that were said to be fast,
mm,
loose. Think about how they presented themselves. And if you were that girl, think about how you presented yourself when you were, in your teenage years, when you were in high school, college. Think about how you presented yourself, and look at your life now. And
mm,
and what gets me is this, and it's very true. Um, some of these young ladies, and I've got some friends and women talk. You know, they set a totally different standard for their daughters than they had when they were that same age. They say to their daughters, don't wear this, don't wear that,
mm,
don't do this, don't do that, because it'll give you a reputation. But they did it.
mm,
And I thank goodness they learned from it. But you think about that. The things that you wear, the way you carry yourself translates
mm,
um, into something that will stick with you. Because when you go back to your high school reunions, think about it. Everybody knew the girl that was fast. And when you go back to the high school reunion, you want to see, what happened to her. That reputation stays. It's sad, but it's true. You go back to high school reunion, Jay. You go back, you see friends from high school, and you be like, "Remember so and so? Yeah, she was this, she was that, she did this, did that, did the other. She may have done half of those things, and you really don't know if she did any of them because you weren't there. But the reputation presented itself, and it perpetuated itself because of how she carried herself and what she wore. That was the girl everybody wanted to get with. The one that showed everything, or the one that had on the tight pants. You know, shorts or whatever. That's the one everybody want to get with. The geeks like me, we were the ones that you look at now and you go, man, look at her, she grew up, but it's how it's all in perception. It's all in perception. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like back in school, the geeks, the short girls, the ones that were on the outer parameters, not popular or whatever. We all dressed a certain way. Then you had the ones that were popular dressed another way. And
Mm-hmm.
when we're older now and we look back or we see each other on Facebook, it's interesting to see how everybody kind of turned out.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's where?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Who's
is
where?
interesting. Yeah.
It's very interesting because a lot of the girls that was what we call hot to trot, you know, they had a rough ride. They had a really rough ride, personally wise. Their personal lives, they had a rough ride because one girl I knew of, really really popular in school, um, dated a lot of guys, a lot. Um,
Mm.
she had a rough ride
Mm-hmm.
because her self esteem was really low. She married this guy that was physically, emotionally, mentally abusive to her, and she ended up um, actually gaining a lot of weight because she felt as though she was nothing, and all that she had was her looks. And once they were, started to diminish, she didn't have anything. She didn't have that self esteem built up inside of her,
Mm-hmm.
where she could survive mentally and emotionally off of who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Not off
Okay.
of who people thought she was.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference.
Right.
So, we reconnected on Facebook, and I tell her all the time, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. People put on Facebook, you're fat, you're this, you're that. And I said, when it comes down to those people, delete them.
Mm-hmm.
Delete them. I said, you're beautiful. You don't have to um, show everything. You don't have to sleep with all these people in order to be beautiful or to be accepted. You're
Right.
past that.
Mm-hmm.
You're past that. You can't go back and change things, but what you can do is move forward. And her whole mentality is starting to change and to evolve. But it's just sad that she went through that, where she relied so much on her sex appeal, on her physical appearance, that it really pulled her in a bad direction. Insofar as who she thought of, how she thought of herself internally.
Mm-hmm.
She became totally connected, totally attached to this image.
Mm-hmm.
And, it took her down a rough path. And it's a path that a lot of people can easily get caught up in. You have to be able to be comfortable with who you are. You have to be able to be comfortable with where you are
Mm-hmm.
in your life. I'm not a size 6 anymore, but I'm very comfortable where I am. When I put on clothes and I go out in public, I feel good about me. I don't need to expose myself in order to feel good about me. In the dating world, when I was dating, when I went out on my first date with my boyfriend, I didn't feel the need to show it and everything. He'll tell anybody, I had on a long sleeve shirt and it came down to my knees. I had on some stretchy jeans and some cute little shoes.
Sound
And
like
I worked that. Okay?
sound
I
like Medea
worked
dress
that.
you.
He's still here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But the thing is that he said what he found to be attractive wasn't what I had on, but it was how it was put together. He got the one, like you said, Jay, it's how you put it together.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wear the little skin tight stuff to be attractive. I love baby doll dresses. Why? Because baby doll dresses flare out. So when you walk, they kind of swoosh, when you walk. guys like that. They appreciate that. They appreciate a real woman who is confident in herself. And your confidence shows in what you wear.
Mm.
Your
Right.
confidence shows in what you wear.
Right.
It really does.
Mm.
In how you carry yourself. You know, um, a confident woman can rock anything.
Oh yeah.
Anything.
Oh
A
yeah.
woman, a
Cause
woman with low confidence
mhm.
she feels the need that she has to wear a
Yeah.
certain type of attire. But a confident woman
Mm.
can rock anything
Oh
and will
yeah.
put it together and
Mm.
rock it.
Because I've seen large women. I mean, you know, I mean,
Hmm.
the phrase that, and this is not an insulting phrase. It's only just saying a category, and we use it, and it's legal and it's legible. You know, when I say large women, BBW women, plus size women, and they even have the BBW size. Okay. So
What is SBBW? That's a new one on me. SBBW. What's that one?
uh, super. Um, Big and beautiful women. You have big and beautiful
Okay.
BBW, and then you have
I got
super
that.
big and beautiful women. Okay. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
so SBBW is really referring to like really, really large. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. However, in any of those categories, I have witnessed, and this is factual, the very factual, in all of those categories, I have seen some women. They have it together, and I mean that,
Hmm.
and because the way they coordinated and fitted themselves, no matter what their size was, they were
Hmm.
looking just as tight and attractive. It made them attractive. Um,
That's right.
and really, um, you know, they got to do same thing saying plus size women is going on now. Um, um, you know, and really, I think that according to the studies, that seems to be true because you have in society these days more plus size women than you have. Really thinner, skinnier women are becoming much more the minority. Um,
Right.
so, um, so the overview, so many things are changing in society. And you know what? Bottom line is always just an opinion. No matter what, it
Hmm.
comes down to just opinion. It's just a fad, and fad changes. So stereotype. I mean, it all changes. It's just somebody's opinion. Now it just becomes a groupie opinion. You know, this is what maybe the majority. But here's a question I have for you. Why is it, in your view and opinion, not your law, just
Hmm.
your view and opinion, would
Hmm.
you say that that it is important for a woman to have an approval of uh, of someone saying that she is attractive in some kind of way? Why is that
Oh,
such
so
a? Mhm. Why
you
is that?
saying that why is that so important that somebody tells us that we're beautiful?
Yes.
I think it's validation.
Mhm.
I honestly feel as though it's validation. Um, I think I got it much going on, but it feels good.
Mhm.
It does. It feels good when someone tells you, hey, you look nice.
Mhm.
You look nice. That looks nice on you.
Okay.
How are you? Good morning, beautiful. You know, and the thing is that I just say thank you.
Mhm.
If they say you have beautiful eyes, I say I thank my parents
Mhm.
because I didn't have anything to do with that. But when somebody tells you that you're beautiful, it's validation.
Okay.
It
All
is
right.
it's validation,
Mhm.
and we all seek validation.
Mhm.
We all seek validation, um, and it makes you feel good.
Oh, okay. All right. All
It
right.
makes you feel good. Just like you. I mean, for men it's the same way, right, Jay? I mean, if y'all have on something that looks nice, and some female walk up to you and say, "Hey, you look nice today." What y'all do? Y'all stand just a little bit taller, don't
Hmm.
you?
Oh yeah. Now, I mean, hearing compliments are nice. They are. Compliments are very nice to have, and
Mhm.
uh, the one thing that I think is a concern about society is when we find a dependency that someone has to give us, and we can't move forward, or we can't do things in life seemingly because we're looking so forward to somebody having to give us an approval of
now,
of of
now that's a problem.
yeah.
That's a problem.
Mhm,
If
mhm,
you need somebody to constantly and consistently pat you on the back,
yeah.
yeah, that's a problem.
Mhm.
Um, that's low self esteem though.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's an
saying.
esteem.
That's that,
That's low
that
self esteem.
right. That is low self esteem. That's why I was
Hmm.
asking, because we do find um people, and it's more in with females, that need and that drive and necessity for an approval of what they look like, or whether or not they are attractive, whether or not and many times, because we get into that position, and I'm saying that across the board, men and women, more so women, but many times when we get in that position of thought and focus, then we sometimes can't move forward in life. That, in my belief, and what I've observed, we can't move forward in life and being all that we can be, or all that we should be, um,
That's
because
true.
we're waiting for somebody else's approval, uh,
Hmm.
just so we can feel good about ourselves. I mean, you know, um, here's the question. I mean, if you don't get, if you have such a dependency for that, then this is just a statement for someone to approve of you, and you do not get the percentage of approval, um, then whose life are you hurting by going into depression and going into withdrawal? And I mean, it's only yours. That's what I'm
Hmm.
saying. It's only self. So,
But
um,
you know, it's like
mm,
it's like when I have daughters,
mm,
and I now have granddaughters. And when my children were growing up, I strongly believe that as a parent, it was my responsibility to validate them so that the world wouldn't have to.
mm,
And in doing that, I showed them how to validate themselves by
mm,
my example. Because I validated myself as well, and I allowed them to see that. I told my girls all the time, "You're beautiful. You're
mm,
smart." People look at that movie, The Help, and the maid in The Help is telling the little children, you is beautiful, you is smart,
mm,
you is intelligent, you is somebody. And people kind of took that and kind of made a little joke about it, but it's a very strong statement that I really feel as though kind of got overlooked and lost, and they thought it was kind of cute. It's a very strong statement. She was showing how to validate your child,
mm,
so that the world won't validate your child. You validate your child.
mm. Right.
And it transcends. It really does. You tell your child they're beautiful. You tell your child they're smart. You tell their child that they are somebody.
Yeah.
And I see my daughters now. doing that with my grandchildren. My little grandbaby put a video on Facebook. My daughter asked her, she said, what do you say to somebody when they tell you you're not beautiful, you're not smart? And my grandbaby said, bye bye. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the cutest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she meant that. My grandbaby meant that. She said she tell that person bye bye.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's great because she doesn't need another person at 5 years old. She doesn't need another person to validate her. If they don't like her, bye bye. If they don't want to be her friend, bye bye. You know, she's content with being by herself. And I think that's a great place to start. It's not something that you just leave off. You know, I'm 46 years old and I still tell myself I'm smart,
Mm-hmm.
I'm beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
I am somebody, you know, and these are still things that I tell myself today. I validate myself. I don't allow other people. Now, if they want to say to me, Kat, you're beautiful, thank you. But trust and believe, I already have that inside of me. And that's where it has to be. It has to dwell inside of you, where
Right.
you know these things about yourself. That self confidence is not cockiness.
Right.
It's a difference.
There is a difference.
It's not
right.
cockiness. It's a difference. But validate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Validate your child. Validate your grandchildren. You know, I tell my grandbaby, hey, beautiful. And it's not just the outward beauty, it's the inside beauty. Hey, beautiful. You speak life into your children. You speak life into their situation. You speak life into their present and into their future by doing these things. So it's, and I don't mean to get on my pulpit, but I'm a strong believer in speaking life and positivity into our young people. Um, it's so much negativity that comes at them every day that it should be one, at least one voice that they hear that's going to speak some life to them. And it needs to come from their parents, needs to come from the community, especially in the black community. We need to speak life and empowerment to our children.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I agree with that. I guess since and that's point well put out there. Since I said this earlier about this other hypocritical thing we do about clothes, I don't. We have listeners that listen real good, so I don't want to get no mail and no calls saying you never did get back to that. So for y'all good tuned in listeners, let me bring this point up before we end this show. Okay, that I was talking about, how you dress and revealing and all that. There's a two phase to that. Now I was speaking about, in proper places there in accordance should be a proper way of dressing, or particular places I should say should be a proper way of dressing for those environments. Um, However, this hypocritical view is something that is practiced, um, and it is about the revealing of skin, where the female is concerned, more so the female than a male. Because as I said again, men and males, even all the way down to little boys, tend to not worry so much about the flesh, about how much flesh really has shown, and it's just been a thing of, I don't know if it's nature or tradition, by habit, as the little boys, a lot of little boys tend to run around, no shirt on, with shorts, and uh, so here's the thing. I often have questioned. Um, I think we did this on one of the shows. Uh, um, the embarrassment for a woman. I'm saying for a woman. The embarrassment for a woman to as much as she would reveal on at the beach, okay? At the beach or the swimming pool, all right? To the particular embarrassment that if she, let's say, someone came to their house and they open the door and they're in undergarments. Okay. Now they wear bikinis to the beach. Okay. And sometimes the bikinis at the beach and the swimming pool are a little bit more revealing than undergarments. Okay. Now what I'm saying is the effect that the psychosis of a mind tends to do to us is amazing because if we can just be really real about it, really real. And I'm saying this notice to guys who may be watching, and if they're not watching, women, you watching this, get the guys and tell them to come back and watch this show so they can see this point. All right. When you see a woman on the street and she's very revealing, it's most likely less revealing than what you would see at a swimming pool or at a beach. So why y'all tripping so bad and gawking so bad over seeing that amount of flesh in the street than when you do at a swimming pool or the beach? Because what I'm saying is the psychological effect is that we're a little hypocritical in that when it comes to that, you know. And however, I understand being appropriate for certain places and like in particular events such as going to get a job. No, you wouldn't try to get a job in a bikini outfit or in swim trunk. That I mean, that's not appropriate. Yes, you may have the women, it might be a male, you might have his attention with his eyes gawking, but really in the real bottom line, he most likely ain't gonna hire you. He's just gonna get a he's just gonna get a big thrill to be able to tell you no. Okay. All right. So but when it comes to that skin, sometimes we are like we go over the edge. When we see skin in several different areas, more so. But the thing we just have to keep them not getting a big, I guess, craziness over how much skin, but what's appropriate. Because, we see flesh all the time. We see flesh. And everybody basically got the same thing. Maybe might be skinnier or bigger, wider, taller, shorter, different shades. But it's still all the same. Okay. All right. So that's all I'm just saying.
It's all the same.
It's all the same.
All the same.
It's still all the same. It's still all the same. All right.
Terrible. It's terrible.
Well, I had to go back. I mean, I put myself in that position by starting off. So I should have got it out of the way earlier. But we got those listeners that's gonna come back. Now you said you were gonna say something about that. Yeah. So.
But the thing is that it's trashy though, right, Jay?
If you the wrong dress in the wrong particular areas is trashy. And the right dress in certain particular areas and events is classy.
So I'm gonna ask you this because Jay and I had this little dress issue last year. I had on a black dress, and I thought I looked rather nice. And Jay informed me that the dress was not flattering. So now, Jay.
The dress was, it was okay, but it didn't bring out the best. It was decent. It was orderly. It wasn't trashy. It just, there are I could wear, I have on a blue shirt. Now I could put on a lime green, high yellow, swirly colored, multicolored tie with this blue shirt, and it wouldn't. And the first day it'd be, that just really. I'm not trashy, but it just ain't blending, and it ain't bringing out the best. So that's what I'm just saying. There are better, would have been, you would say there better, that Jay, there'd be some better ties you could wear with that blue shirt. All right.
Well, people out there, I just want to say that if you're not quite put together correctly,
oh, that's trashy.
Jay will let you know. Even if you are friends, he will let you know. That's not right.
Well,
bless his heart.
Well, a true friend, there's a two-part to that. A true friend will always be honest, and the other part of that is the friend that's also calling themselves a true friend will continue to be a true friend even after they claim they've been insulted.
Okay, I have a question about that.
Okay.
Okay, because it's some people walking around out here, a little trashy.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they saw what they had on before they left the house.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they thought it was okay.
Mm.
So what advice would you give to someone? Let's say that, they got a real good girlfriend, and girlfriend dresses a little trashy.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been girlfriends for a while. What advice would you give to her, if she's concerned about her girlfriend's appearance when they're going out? Because when you out with someone like that, like it or not, it reflects on you too.
Oh yeah.
Because you hanging with them.
Right.
So, what advice do you give to someone that's in that type of situation?
Well, here's the considerations. All right. First of all, the one that's, I guess you say, one is classic, one is trashy. Okay. We're gonna put it in that kind of perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that's classy, needs to consider, and this is going to open up an unintentional test of friendship. Okay. All right, I said unintentional test of friendship. Because sometimes we really don't know who true friends are until we get into those unintentional tests. Sometimes are intentional tests. However, but the classical one, if there are some concerns about her so-called personal friend, quote unquote, and her trashiness style, then a good friend would try to find a tactful way to say it. That's what a good friend would do. Okay? Because one of the things they don't really want to do is hurt them. But it might be a need to be said. So in the care for not hurting, and you calling yourself a friend and care, then of course that will should prompt you to try to find a a try to see if there's a time that we call, a right time to say it. We don't never know what's a right time, but
What's a
but
really right
a
time?
good way to say it without really trying to offend. Now, and if you know your friends, quote unquote, well, as you claim you do, then um, then you should know whether how well they can receive and object things. Okay, um,
Hmm.
so upon that, all those considerations, approach your friend with tact, with care. All right, and say what you need to say. Now, if your friend actually counts you as a friend, and here's where the unintentional test is going to come up. If your friend actually really counts you as a friend, now she may not agree. Um, that is her rightful choice. However, um, you know, she can receive what you said based upon how you view it and welcome what you said. But if but if she just done turn downright doggy style and gonna flip a script on you because she has taken a sole offense to you just being caring in your view. All right. Now remember, you're not as a friend. You don't beat something down into them. You say what you have to say, and
Hmm.
you leave it with them. Okay.
You keep
Now,
it
if you
moving.
sitting there just steadily riding, girl, I don't like the way you dress. Next week come, girl, I keep telling you I can't stand the way you dress. You ain't be riding. I mean, you steadily riding now. Might need to check yourself. Right? You might need to check yourself, friend, trying to tell the other friend, um, because uh, uh, because that is offensive to anybody
Hmm.
for somebody to be a henpeck to them. All right. I mean, really, because real true friends don't do that, and if real true friends allow the portray of respect to the other person for them to be who they are. Now, you
Right.
also in that you need to also make a choice as to what kind of company of quote people who you call friends to be in your circle. And if that's such a
Right.
big bother and deal to you as to how a person dress, then maybe that person doesn't need to be in your circle. Okay,
Right.
I'm just saying. All right, so
That's
that's what
true.
I.
But the thing about it is that you knew how they were at the beginning of your friendship, unless something drastically changed.
That's how
Or
people. Yeah, but that's how people tend to do, just like in relationships. You know how they were and how you jump in a relationship. You got this whole, well, they see how, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna do relationship. Then I'm gonna jump to the friend girlfriend thing. They
mhm,
see I'm a good person. They see I treat them good. Well, maybe they'll change. They ought to change because I'm good. Well, the same thing about the girlfriend thing. They see how I dress. They know I got class and stuff. I mean, I like a whole lot of things about them, but because the way I dress, they ought to be trying to change to come up to where I'm at and all that. People, you can't do that. You're only setting
mm-mm.
yourself up because
That's right.
you only set yourself up because nobody can change you but you. Okay? And it's on, all right? I mean, nobody can change me but me. And no matter how
That's
much
right.
anybody jumps on my case, no matter how many talks counsel, it's only up to self when self makes up his or her mind, to make that change. And so, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Other than that, a person who's repetitively coming to is actually unconsciously trying to make somebody be what they want them to be. and you can't make nobody be what you want them to be. Because the reverse question is, can somebody make you be what they want you to be? The answer's going to always be no.
No.
So why we spill that on somebody else? I mean, that's all I'm just saying.
You say I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was just saying. Yeah.
I like that right there.
All right, so I guess that'd be a good note to close on before I get in more trouble.
Ooh, I like that. He was up on that soapbox.
Yep. Yep. Now, classy or trashy. I mean, you know, hey, you gonna be who you want to be, but I'm gonna tell you, you definitely gonna be rated. You will be rated. Don't lie to yourself. I'm gonna read that post I had on our Facebook, J Talk's Facebook, the biggest lie ever, coming up. All right, y'all should go on Facebook, J Talk's Relationships on Facebook. Okay, read that post, the biggest lie ever told. All right.
Yeah, it's a long one, but it's worth reading.
And it ain't from somebody else. I'll just get a hint. It ain't from somebody else. All right. All right. So, Lady K, we're ending another episode.
Another episode.
Another episode. All right, folks. Y'all join us back next week. All right. All right. Join us back.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. That's right.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. All right. So, y'all join us next week as we have another exciting show. All right?
Yes.
All right. We out of here, y'all. All right. Peace.